So there's a great need to come together. And that's one of the principles in our teaching, is that when those leaders put the weapons away, the principle was to arrive at consensus. And we work on a principle of consensus, the original traditional people of the Six Nations. That means that when our leaders come together in Grand Council in Syracuse, that means that an issue that's brought forth to Grand Council, those leaders have to agree 100%. Otherwise, it doesn't move forward. Now, that's quite an accomplishment. Can you imagine our group here today coming to a consensus? That's pretty difficult, you see. In this country, they got you divided right down the middle. If you're not a Democrat, you're a Republican, or you're something else. That splits you right down the middle. We don't have that in our tradition. And it's our purpose and our goal to strive to become of one mind. That's how that works. So if we can think alike, we can move forward into the future with those principles that have been established for us in the great law of peace. Very, very significant. And that's what the founding fathers saw here today, or years ago. They saw those principles that were functional, had been in place for a long time. And so the eagle, significance of the eagle is that very, very important. The eagle flies the highest in our tradition. He's closest to our Creator. He has great vision. And the purpose of eagles was, became a leader of all the birds. I am the carrier of eagle feathers. It's a privilege, it's an honor. I don't carry eagle feathers with me today, but I possess eagle feathers. Those are only given to people of honor, respect. And so the eagles, I understand, have returned to the territories here. You can be proud of that. Look after them. And I want to thank Mark for kind of bring this whole matter to today. And I came out on occasion when an eagle was found, down near the lake. And I carry a great responsibility as a carrier of eagle feathers. So I made the trip down, and DEC was contacted. And what I found, with the matter coming before DEC, and I have a purpose too. What I found that they came down and they flexed their muscles of the law, the federal law. But you see, we have laws too. I had a responsibility with the eagle feathers. I took care of it. I did what I had to do with that eagle. And they took possession of the eagle, and of course it went to a repository eventually. But I got kind of a imposing letter from the DEC about prosecution and what have you, because I was headed down to this area where the eagle was found to perhaps maybe take possession, or at least take care of this eagle. So I got kind of it wasn't a nice letter from the DEC. But I just want to say to you too, you see, we have laws. Our laws preceded the laws of the United States. And these are the principles, and like I said, I carry responsibility to eagles to take care of them properly. And so there's great wealth in terms of how we look at things. And all the things that you can see around you, see, these are our relations. We're all related. You and I are related. You are my brothers and sisters here that are before me today. And eagles are relatives, just as the birds and the animals. And in the beginning of these kind of gatherings, we do typically what's called a ganonyo. It's the words that come before all else. And I didn't start that because it's lengthy in our language. And for our traditional leaders, when they meet in council, they do the ganonyo. It may exceed an hour. It may go 2 hours. But you see, that brings you to a state of mind. And it teaches patience. And what it is to acknowledge creation. The ganonyo is to acknowledge creation. I can do the short version, but the shorter version would be Lakota. Lakota language is Mitakuyo Yasu. And what that means is thanks for all my relations. And in that discussion, it acknowledges everything, and it begins with the earth, Mother Earth, the waters, the trees, the plants, the medicines, the animals, the birds, and it works up skyward to the sun and moon and the stars. And that's why we say it takes a while to provide that ganonyo. But I said it in very short words, thanks for all my relations. And as I pointed out, right across the way here, the grasses, the trees, and the sky, see, those are relations. And if you have a different outlook on these things, perhaps, we can move in that direction, in the right direction. It's thinking about our relations, all our relations. And it includes everything that surrounds us. And we're most thankful. We always give thanks daily and throughout the day. We are supposed to do our ganonyo individually all day long. So those eagles are relatives of ours. I came down to take care of my relative. I brought tobacco. So I'm here today to assist you with the fine painting here, beautiful painting, and of course I was an asset, and I understand there's several other murals along the Erie Barge Canal. I was in a play last year at Buffalo, New York on the waterfront. It's called Clinton's Ditch. And of course, you know who I portrayed, right? Right. And then of course the other part that I portrayed was a Cayuga man. And I played a role in the play where they were moving down through the Montezuma swamps. And the great tragedy, the malaria and the difficulty and the problems they had coming through that part of the state. But I noticed coming through, was it Schenectady, someplace I came through from New York City in a train. I passed through a town and I saw a building right as the train stopped. It said Clinton's Ditch. It's kind of unusual to see that, but I saw that yesterday. And so that, I think it's coming out this way. There's discussions of, you see something with Clinton's Ditch to be played somewhere in an area, make sure you get a chance to attend that. But like I said, I'm so glad to be part of your program today. And this is an excellent painting here, Native people. And I do want to mention too that I don't wear a headdress today. This is a roach, deer hair roach that I wear. And this goes way back into maybe 1700s, this style here. It's deer hair, and there's quite elaborate quill work. And I have on my leggings here, it looks like lace from a distance. It's beadwork. And the lacework at the bottom of my leggings was taken out of Henry Morgan's book, 1851. It's a copy. The leggings from Henry Morgan was the author that wrote the League of the Six Nations, Haudenosaunee. And that is supposed to be the first scientific writings of the people, the Six Nations. And Henry Louis Morgan has become known as the father of anthropology. And it was only through the advice and discussion with Ely that this book was written by Henry Louis Morgan. So much of the regalia of what I'm wearing today has been done by the best of our craft people. I can do beadwork, but I don't have that kind of time. So I find the best of our craft people to do, the outfits and so on and so forth. So the headdress that I'm not wearing, typically of the Six Nations, it kind of looks like a beanie, and it's a wood frame, and it has nothing to do like you see in Hollywood. Okay, those Hollywood movies, they wore large bonnets, eagle feather bonnets, and we had nothing of the sort. You can imagine trying to wear a bonnet going through the woods, in this area. Wouldn't work out too well. So the headdress that we wear today, traditional headdress, is called a gastolan. And it has, various feathers on it, turkey feathers and hawk feathers. And the Senecas would be identified with this gastolan with one eagle feather up. So coming this way again from the west, Cayugas would be one eagle feather, kind of laying back and down. And then the Onondaga Nation would have one feather up and one feather down. So as we look at the headdresses, we can tell visibly by what nation they belong to. And of course, Oneida would have two eagle feathers up and one down. And then of course, Mohawk people would have three eagle feathers up. And then of course, the Tuscaroras don't really have eagle feathers. They carry eagle feathers on their headdress, but not any feathers standing up. So it's an easy way for us in our regalia to identify the nation we belong to. But again, the clans today is what binds us together. So when I say that I belong to the Heron clan, you see there's clans all through the Six Nations. Those are my relatives, and we treat each other as such. We have 8 clans in the Seneca. The Mohawk and Oneida have only 3 clans: the wolf turtle and the bear. But that has nothing to do with majority rule. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. That's where the balance is created in our society. And believe me, it's the women that put forth the leader. You say they take that child, and it is the women that raise the young boys. And they watch them when they're growing up. And they look for that leadership quality. And it is then that they make the choice. The mothers make the choice. Who is the next leader of the clan. And that's got to be by consensus too. So perhaps the day of their selection, they may notify that particular individual. And that individual knows nothing of being chosen. And there's no one that seeks to be a chief. You don't have those particular rights. It's up to the mothers. So for the mothers here, there is power. That's how that women's right got to be located in the state of New York. You see, they got it from our people. You see, now, those leaders, they're not term people. They're not there for 2 years. They're not there for 4 years. They are in there for life. And they can't say, I'm quitting. They can't do it. You don't quit. So when they're chosen, you see, they accept that responsibility. And they answer to the clan members. You see, if we have an errant leader, think about this. If there's an errant leader, the clan mothers will take care of it. They send a warning out. You better get on that path, on that right path. First warning. Second warning. Ample time, plenty of time to correct his wrongdoings. You see, third time around that's the end of it. It's called a dehorning. It's one of the worst things that can happen. And it's up to the clan mothers to remove that person. And one of the most worst things that can happen with the removal of a leader, you see, they can't put a leader in until that person passes on. It could be 30 years, 40 years. Very, very difficult decisions. That's why, our leaders today, they're in there for life.